Good morning. I'm sorry, good afternoon. The hour is 3:34. I would like to call to order the meeting of the Memphis City Council's Budget Committee. Ms. Owens, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Johnson. Councilman Warren.
Present.
Councilman Smiley.
I'm here.
Councilwoman Robinson. Councilman Ford. Chair Jones.
Present. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is the opportunity for the Memphis City Council to hear from nonprofit organizations that have made applications for the council grants for this next fiscal year. Each presenter will be afforded 2 minutes to talk about their organization, but mainly focus on the financials and how you would be using the funds if you're granted those. There are some applicants that are on here for the first time. There are others that are repeats, but generally these are organizations for which a number of different, a council member or a number of different council members wanted just to hear more information about your organization and how you would expect to extend the funds. So we have, as you can see, based upon the people that are in the audience today, we have quite a few presenters. Like I said, each person will be afforded 2 minutes to talk about the organization. We have the information before us that was prepared, so that 2 minutes, though, is your presentation time, but still keep in mind that there could be questions from council members, but we'd like to get everybody out of here at a reasonable hour. This is not, during this session, we will not be making the individual grant selections or awards, so you will be free to leave once you have presented. So unless anybody, any colleagues has any statements, questions before we start, we'll go ahead and get started. The first that we have, and so I'm going to call the first three, and so when you hear your name called, if you could make your way to the front of the auditorium, we can get through this in a little bit more timely fashion and get everybody out of here at a decent hour. So the first three organizations that we're going to hear from this evening are going to be Churches, Families and Communities Together, Cfact, Lily Rose, Inc., and UCAN of Memphis. Yes, ma'am, the podium there.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank you for the work that you do, that we see you do, and the work that we don't see you do, and particularly for your support for us and the community. I am Bobby Shaw Hunter. I'm the Executive Director for Cfact, which is Churches, Families, and Communities Together National Training Institute. Our mission is very simple. We intentionally and proactively work with communities that are underserved, disadvantaged, and disenfranchised in order to break the complexity of poverty. And we do that with wraparound services. We have been in existence since 2002. We have chosen 6 zip codes that we concentrate in, even though we are all over the Memphis area, because 12 of the poorest zip codes on the Tennessee and within Tennessee, 12 of those are within the Memphis area. And this year we are focusing on 6, and hopefully by next year we will be in all 12 areas on that have been listed. Our budget, we are requesting $15,000. And all of our money that will be used for community engagement and assistance to the community. The zip codes that we're focusing on are 38106, 38127, 38114, 38118, 38116, and 38109. The majority of race in each one of these communities are African Americans, and that is, I'm jumping pages, aren't I? I don't mean to do that. Okay, that's right. Those are the majority of the communities that we're working in are, as you can, they are way above the poverty level, beginning in 38109 with 25%, over 25% poverty, all the way up to the 38114, which is 37% above poverty level. Each one of these communities are at 99% have over 77, almost 78% African Americans, all the way up to almost 100%. As you can see, their employment grade in each one of these areas are F, according to.
Mrs. Shaw Hunter, your time has expired. I wanted to give, if you could just wrap up your comments and give opportunity for council members to ask questions of you.
2 minutes.
They
I'm
went by
sorry.
fast. Council members, did you have any closing remarks that you can make before I wanted to recognize council members?
You're asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the only thing is that our services are wraparound services, and that's all. And that I appreciate the work that you all do, particularly all of you.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, did we have any questions for Mrs. Shaw Hunter? Mrs. Johnson?
I'm in the queue.
Okay. I have you in the queue, Councilman Smiley.
Hello, is this your first time applying for a grant?
It is.
Okay, first time.
It is the
Thank
first
you.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smiley.
Rhonda.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. So my quick question is, can you all hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Is now joining.
I'm just trying to figure out, as succinctly as possible, could you tell us what exactly you do? I hear wraparound services, but I want a little bit more specificity.
Please repeat that.
Yes, he wanted to know if you could elaborate on what's considered wraparound services.
Yes,
It's a broad term,
absolutely,
but if you could be more
absolutely.
specific about it.
Absolutely. In our community, we believe that it takes the entire community to actually solve any of problems, because one agency cannot do it alone. Some of the services that we do are, we have mobile pantries, and on the 14th of June, there are 7 mobile pantries that we sponsor and all over the Memphis area. We do that. We also do community roundtables on a monthly basis, because we believe that the biggest asset to our community are our people. And
Piper said that the bathrooms, the showers are disgusting.
Can you mute any outside callers that we have in, please?
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Our biggest asset are our people in the community, and that we believe in
Rhonda Logan.
we believe in bottom-up solutions, which means that the people in the
Is now
community
exiting.
needs to be part of the solutions that they want for their community. So we do this by having community roundtables every month. Now it's going to quarterly. We are actually in the community, in the churches. We do mobile pantries. We do family strengthening exercises and training, as well as conferences, because we know that the police alone cannot correct the problem. We try to train families to know that, like, if, in order to run a business, you have to have a family mission. You have to have a family vision. And so we train families to establish those visions.
Okay, excuse me. Mr. Smiley, does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I noticed when you are first time presenting before this body, sometimes you get a little nervous, but thank you for presenting, and I wish you much success. I think this council will be inclined to help support you all's organization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smiley. Thank you, Mrs. Shaw Hunter, for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Have a good evening. Next, we have Lily Rose, Inc., and then UCAN of Memphis. After that, we'll be hearing from Sweet Cheeks Diaper Ministry. So if those organizations that I just mentioned, if you could sort of make your way up to the front, it would be appreciated. Good afternoon, and the timer will start once you introduce yourself and your organization.
All right, my name is Nadia Matthews. I'm with Lily Rose Studios. I brought my assistant with me. I brought her with me because she's been with me since she was in 5th grade. It's just a product of our students staying with us forever. So I'm gonna get right to it. Lily Rose Studios is a 501c3 dramatic arts organization. We run programs year-round right on 810 South Main Street, so we're not too far from here. We run summer camps, programs throughout the entire year. After school programs, we run school break library camps, and we also have Saturday classes every single Saturday. So we're serving at least 3,000 youth with our Taste the Arts tour that we do, and we're also with the libraries now where we do free classes at the library in South Memphis and the library in Whitehaven. So we are all about spreading the arts through our dramatic arts organization. We do believe that theaters have a lot of transferable skills. Our mission is definitely to holistically transform the lives by helping young people face demanding and challenging situations, and we believe that we do that each and every week at Lily Rose Studios currently. We're asking for $29,000 to utilize funds to increase payroll to be able to pay our students. We see that the problem now with our students is that they need something to do. They are expressing themselves. They need something to do besides TikTok, social media, and they're really creative. They're dancing on TV. We want to make sure they channel that. So we're going to utilize the funds to increase our programs, to get out there virtually like we've been doing, and also to bring them to the studio as a safe haven so they can have an outlet to come to our studio on a Saturday from South Memphis 38106, District 8, and be able to express themselves and use those transferable skills to be great in the community.
Colleagues, any questions for Ms. Matthews? Yes. Councilman Warren.
Yes, I guess if I could get everyone who's applying today, if this is your first time to apply, please let us know. If it's not, tell us, is this your first application?
Yes.
Thank you. And how many, you say 3,000 youth are in your program throughout the year?
Yes, so we have virtual programs as well as programs every single week. So we run year round. Even right now, our summer program is fully enrolled, as well as Saturdays at the libraries. We're at 2 different libraries every Saturday. Kids are able to come in. We instruct the classes. They're able to come in free of charge with that program, with that partnership with the library. So we have a revolving door of students, but some classes can go as high as 50 students. Sometimes you get 2, but we do that every single Saturday along with our programs that we have at the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Smiley.
Did someone ask me a question?
Yeah, Mrs. Smiley was in the queue. I don't know if he's
I'm having a whole conversation by myself.
You're recognized, Mr. Smiley.
Thank you, Chairman. Real quick, I'm personally familiar with this organization. They do good work. We spend a lot of time talking about, I'm going to quote Councilman Jones here, we may not be in the education business, but we are in the children business. This organization serves a lot of children in our community, and not just serve, the young people are eager to be a part of this program. So this will be one of the organizations I support, and I ask that my colleagues do the same thing. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, Ms. Matthews.
Colleagues, any other questions? I'll just make a comment. For the past couple of years, pre-COVID, my son, as well as Ms. Logan's daughter, have attended Lily Rose Studios during the summer months. We missed the deadline this year, so I had to enroll them someplace else, but I can attest to the work, and she knows, I don't know how she does it, knows every child by name, but she does a wonderful job at that organization, and I will be supporting it as well. Ms. Matthews, Ms. Owens is going to escort you in the back because my son is back there. He just wants to say hello to you. But thank you for your presentation. The next presenter is UCAN, and so if you have somebody who can operate the presentation for you, you can do it at that podium there. Yes.
Yes, it's us.
Hey, sir. The floor is yours, Ms. Robinson. Welcome and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me me back. Again, my name is LaShondra Robinson. I am the Executive Director of UCAN of Memphis. No, this is not my first time coming to you, so again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. UCAN of Memphis' mission is to impact young adolescents through mentoring, workforce development, and bullying awareness, which will bring forth a positive growth in the community. The program addresses crime prevention through our bullying prevention program, prevention program, youth empowerment and social emotional learning and leadership, economic and skill development through career exploration and entrepreneurship workshops, such as our think tank, where students attend a 10-week cohort will pitch their business idea in a form of Shark Tank to win various prizes and $1,000. We're excited to have here today one of our students who will be pitching for that grand prize. The solution is we have been active in the community by creating a thriving, positive leadership program in 16 middle and high schools and have graduated 400 students from the program. Over the years, with your help, we have served a little over 6,000 youth and 600 adults using workshops, conferences, theaters, fairs, community engagement, and training. For this upcoming school year, we will partner with communities and schools to conduct our proven effective strategies at 5 of their schools and 1 charter school, with an average around 80 students to graduate for 2023. Using the latest research, curriculum, and guest speakers, we teach students real-life leadership skills in a way to better understand today's society, to be a better citizen, and be a positive influence on their peers. With your help of $20,700, we will train new mentors and interns for each school, purchase school, programming, and graduation supplies, prepare for Think Tank Cohort 2, as well as provide incentives to the students for attendance and behavior. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Questions for Ms. Robinson, colleagues? Okay. Seeing none, this is not your first time, so we're very familiar with your organization. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Have a great day.
You as well. The next presenter we have would be Sweet Cheeks Diaper Ministry, followed by Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis and Bevo Boys Fitness Academy. So if those last two organizations can make their way down to the front, and the representative for Sweet Cheeks Diaper Ministry, if you could present at the podium. And the clock will begin after you introduce yourself and your organization.
Okay. Hi, this is not my first time applying, but this is my first time here in person.
Okay.
My name is Corey Smith. I'm the founder and executive director of Sweet Cheeks Diaper Ministry. Our mission is to end poverty by providing diapers, wipes, formula, and other necessities for babies and improving their quality of life. We also provide feminine hygiene products to school-age girls. We also provide adult incontinence products to our senior community as well. For all of those who's not familiar with my organization, we're basically a diaper, we're a food bank, but for diapers. So families are able to come directly to us to get much needed supplies. As you all know, we've been in a crisis these past couple months with the formula shortage and a diaper shortage where families aren't able to go to the stores and purchase. We have just this past Saturday distributed over 1,000 cans of formula to over 600 families in our community. Just last month, we also hit our 1 million diaper. That means we have distributed over 1 million diapers to families here in Shelby County. We are requesting, where's my slide? $35,000, and that money will go to purchase diapers for our families, formula, and also supplies. The last year when we received funding, we were operating out of my garage at home, and we are now in our own warehouse. Families are able to come directly to our warehouse to get supplies for their families. We also distribute to certain Shelby County schools. We distribute the feminine hygiene products there. And that's my time if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Smith, we have questions from Councilman Warren.
I just want to tell you that my wife thinks you have the best name.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. No problem.
Yes, Mr. Ford.
Okay, on here it says.
Microphone, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. It said you requesting how much?
I put 35,000, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 50,000, I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get it right.
I did 35 last year, 50 this year.
Okay.
Okay.
And that will go to purchase diapers, formula, and hygiene products.
Okay, that was the question that I had. Thank you for that, Ms. Ms. Ford. A question I have for you, Ms. Smith. Can you share with us how you are addressing, this national formula crisis and how you are getting around that?
Is this back on?
Yes.
So well, we were actually featured in an article this past week by the New York Times and Bloomberg News because we are one of the few organizations who are able to acquire formula. I've been working with different suppliers for the past couple months, and we were able to raise $20,000 in 48 hours, and we purchased over 1,000 canisters of formula through McKesson.
Wow, thank you. Great work. Great work. I don't know if we've ever had an applause doing a presentation like that, but it just talks about the environment that we're in and the important work that you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So wanted to check and see if any of my colleagues who are joining us virtually have any questions. Okay. Well, thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Next, we have Heal the Hood Foundation, followed by Bevo Boys Fitness Academy, and then the Memphis Child Advocacy Center following that. So if the Bevo Boys Fitness Academy and a representative for the Memphis Child Advocacy Center can make your way up front, we can speed things along a little bit.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Liddell Beeman. I'm the founder and CEO of Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis, which is actually the whole mission is to use arts and media science to be able to enact change in the city of Memphis and surrounding areas. A lot of our work is basically, we're headquartered in the Hickory Ridge Mall in Hickory Hill, but we work inside of the Shelby County school systems where we service over 16 schools in our projects and services. The funding that we're actually requesting is for the legacy project that we have inside of our program. Our whole system is basically designed to really be able to impact the whole family, the not only first generation, but the second and third generation. In our work, we've often run across a lot of generational issues that happens when we meet students that are not only gang members, but their mothers and grandmothers are actually in gangs as well. And upon a lot of our visits and structures to a lot of the families, we do what's called the Wake Up Tour, which allows us to go inside of the school systems that we've been doing since 2005, where we reached a little bit over 500,000 kids to date. And inside of us, working inside of those areas, we've had an opportunity with our tours to gain the attention of national celebrities that have come to be a part of us, because a lot of our kids that are in Memphis are exposed to crime and violence on a daily basis. And for us, it's about being able to use the arts to break that norm that a lot of our kids are facing in their day-to-day lives. And so from that, we've been able to not only penetrate the hearts of the kids, but we've also been able to open up programs that speak to the families as well. We often try to stay away from parent training because I'm not a parent and I don't have any kids, so parents will be offended if we say we're training them to be a parent. So our thing is to be about supporting and giving the parents opportunities to do amazing things. And so we served a little bit over 76,000 citizens, and we raised $63,500 in capital, and we're going to use our funds for the programming.
We can. Councilman Warren, and then followed by Johnson.
I see on your, I guess, business sheet that you got $75,000 from Memphis, or 93 from last year. I'm just trying to figure out, did you get that from the council grant, or did you get some of this money from the city of Memphis to help run that anti-gang programs last year?
No, we did not actually get it from the city of Memphis. We got a small portion from the city of Memphis, thanks to Councilman Ford. But everything else just came from other fundraising opportunities that we were doing to build it.
Okay, because one of the things we normally do is, like, it looks like you're asking for almost 85 or 90% of the budget coming from city of Memphis, and normally we give about 5 or 10%, just so you understand where we're coming from. It sounds like you're doing great work. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Colleagues, any other questions? Oh, and, well, thank you for your presentation, Mr. Beeman.
Okay.
One of the things that I as Councilman Warren notated, in our presentations, and it probably was disclosed on the website, just from a funding standpoint, the council strives to not be the primary funder of any organization. So we may have instances where your ask exceeds what would be their percentage, but just please know, just our general guidelines are not to be the major funder, and so we try to limit it to a percentage, much greater, not be your primary funder.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Next presenter is going to be Bevo, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Boys Fitness Academy, followed by the Memphis Child Advocacy Center, and then the Young Actors Guild will follow that. Yes. Microphone, yes.
So in red on the presentation, I just need some explanation so that the community that's watching will understand. It says that the Memphis City Council will not accept financial requests that exceed more than 30% of the total operating budget as reported on the most recently filed and accepted charitable organizations filing. So if they followed the rules, this may be the 30% of what they did over last year, but are we saying that's why we need to be clear that because his annual expenses this year is 158, I don't know what's on the tax record because I don't have that before me, and then he asked for 140,000. That is way over the 30.
Correct.
But our note here says that it has to be over the information that's in the IRS 990 EZ or 990.
And so
do we have that information?
yes, we do for a number of them. For organizations that don't have receipts of greater than 50,000, they typically would file a postcard type of return.
Okay.
So
okay.
And as we go through the process, what the staff will do, they will notate those instances. But now one thing I would mention too, and this was brought to my attention sort of after the filing deadline, a lot of organizations, because of COVID, they may not have been able to engage in the typical fundraising activities. Mm-hmm. So they could have had prior to 2020, they may have had revenues of 200,000, for instance. But as a result of COVID, it could have gone down to 50, for instance. So, I guess what we would have to do is look at things on a case-by-case basis, and it's, we have a lot. We're hearing from 42 organizations. We had over 150 applicants, so it would be my thinking, though, that it would be upon the organizations to provide to us those circumstances where, and the information to substantiate, hey, in 2020, or 2019, here's what we were able to bring in, but because of COVID, and therefore, here's what our ask is greater than that, and we feel that we'll be able to get back to those pre-COVID levels in those years. But, to request, I think it would have been burdensome on the applicant as well as the staff on just a broad basis for them to file every year's tax returns to take a total look at that picture.
Okay, I'm just trying to get clarity because I'm making my little stacks over here.
Right.
And I don't want to eliminate anybody because of the rules, and I don't understand the rules.
Right, and so, and I think that this probably should have been worded, we will not grant. Not that we wouldn't accept them, we just wouldn't grant any awards that exceed that 30% in those examples.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we can look at it from that standpoint. Ms. Johnson, you look like you had a question.
It was along the same lines,
Okay.
and I know that some applicants were disqualified, and I was under the impression if they exceeded the 30%, they were disqualified, because that was one of the guidelines. So is that the case? So this one made it through accidentally?
So the question was, because based upon the application itself, their request exceeded that 30%, but there were some that were eliminated because theirs exceeded it. This one,
I didn't hear.
she was saying that if they're in the stack, their ask did not exceed 30% of what their IRS reporting figures were.
Well, I think we just have to work on them because that's not what's being reflected today. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great.
Great. My name is Reginald Bernard. I'm the president of the Bevo Boys Fitness Academy, and our mission is to of the Bevo Boys Fitness Academy is to teach basic boxing fundamentals and to keep at-risk kids off the streets. We also work with the 8 principles, which is to protect physical, psychological safety, create an appropriate structure for mentoring, build supportive relationships, offer opportunities for to belong, encourage positive social norms, leadership development, and what they want to learn, and mentorship opportunities to make a difference, provide opportunities, skill building, and integrate across families and schools. And also, let me say that we are a first-time applicant for this grant also. We were founded in 2006, but the work began way before that. It actually began by Mr. Kenneth Cole. He is a former professional boxer within the city of Memphis, and he wanted to give back to the kids of Memphis and Shelby County, and I am a product of one of those kids as well. We are asking today for a contribution of $15,000. This money will be used for rent and leasing of a facility so that we can have a more stable place for our kids to come to get this training. We currently work out of the McFarland Community Center and any other community center that will allow us to come in at this time. As you all know, the problem within Memphis and Shelby County is that we have seen at-risk students have negative impacts, be it from dropping out of school, abuse behavior, and things like that. And so our design and our belief is that if we offer individuals, students or kids a place to come and learn physical activities, physical techniques, and it also gives them the opportunity to be motivated and trained in a positive way and be a positive person in our community as well. Currently, we serve 40 youth, and we're continuing to grow in that number as well. And we've also raised $20,000 along the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bernard. We have a question from Councilman Warren.
Is this your first time applying?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleagues? Mr. Bernard, I have a question. You indicated that this request would help cover some of your rental expenses. Have you secured a facility?
We're currently finding a facility at this time.
Okay.
And that will help us with rent and utilities, yes.
Okay. So with this ask, would that only be enough to cover what would be probably your first year's rent? If that's the case, what are your plans as far as a long-term strategy in order to find a facility?
Yeah, that will get us a start. Okay. And so currently we will be having fundraisers throughout the year to help with that assistance as well.
Okay. Colleagues, any other questions? Those that are online, are there any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bernard.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Child Advocacy Center, followed by the Young Actors Guild and the Goodwill Excel Center Mid-South.
Just put it on this slide. We'll just leave it. I'll flip through all of them. And we'll go talk over there.
And if I would ask of staff too, if somebody could notate those applicants that state that they're the first, this is their first time applying, when we're conducting the review, if that information will be handy for us. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hey, I'm Craig Weiss. I'm a longtime volunteer and supporter of the Memphis Child Advocacy Center, and I'm the current chair of the board of directors. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your past support of the MCAC. I know that you all know about the critical work that the center does. We will be celebrating or commemorating our 30th year of service to the victims of child sexual abuse and severe physical abuse in the city and county. And I'm going to introduce now Virginia Stallworth, our Executive Director, to give a little presentation, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks.
Thanks, Craig, and thanks to all of you for this opportunity to come before you again today. Your support of the Memphis Child Advocacy Center supports our work towards safety, healing, and justice for victimized kids. As y'all know, the Memphis CAC works alongside the Shelby County Child Protection Investigation Team, partners, and first responders, providing essential services following a report of child sexual abuse or other severe abuse. This team includes all law enforcement in Memphis and Shelby County, including MPD, which has the Juvenile Abuse Unit located on site at the Memphis CAC. Our team also includes Juvenile Court, Shelby County Crime Victims and Rape Crisis Center, the DA's office, and others. The funding we're requesting this year will go to support services that help facilitate the teamwork and coordination of the Child Protection Investigation Team, specifically in the investigation, treatment, and prosecution of child abuse cases. This also includes providing developmentally and culturally appropriate forensic interviews of suspected child abuse victims. Something new I wanted to share with you all this year is that in addition to interviewing suspected child abuse victims, we have increasingly been providing forensic interviews at the request of Homicide Unit of MPD, of child witnesses of homicide, and we have seen a 140% increase in the number of these forensic interviews over the last 3 years. So the funding, again, that we are requesting provides help with those team services and the forensic interviews. You know, the need is great here in Memphis and Shelby County, where the rate of child sexual abuse is twice the national rate, and that is based on the 2014 Adverse Childhood Experiences study done here in Shelby County. And we know that children who don't receive help from compassionate professionals are more likely to have long-term problems, including addictions, mental health issues, poverty, and other health problems. Finally, I just want to let you know in terms of where we are funding-wise, we are continuing to experience some decreases in funding related to the ongoing impact of the pandemic, as well as some changing funder priorities in our community. So your support of our request will help sustain our critical services and will help victims become children again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stallworth and Mr. Weiss. Colleagues, any questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have the Young Actors Guild, followed by Goodwill Excel, Center Mid-South, and Youth Engineered Success.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Sabrina Norwood, and I'm the Executive Director of Young Actors Guild. Young Actors Guild was founded here in Memphis in 1991 by our Artistic Director and founder, Ms. Christy Chandler. Her mission was to be able to impact, engage, and inspire young people ages 3 to 17 in the arts, and we've been able to do that to the tune of 43,000 young people here in the city of Memphis. We're excited about the work that we've been able to do. Our main mission is to bring the arts back to the community. As we know, oftentimes our young people deal with so much in terms of their home life. We have many young people in our program. We just accepted 2 families. 2 children were able to see their mom killed in front of them, and we had 2 young men that saw their father killed in front of them. And the arts has acted and aided as an opportunity for them to dance away the negativity that they deal with in their day-to-day lives. Our job is to provide them an opportunity to hone the natural talents that they have, but also provide them an opportunity to grow and enhance in leadership and character development. And we've been able to do that. We've had young people to go on to American Idol, So You Think You Can Dance, BET Sunday's Best, Mr. Jalen Hunter, who's currently traveling with Broadway and Lion King. They've gone to Joffrey Ballet, Dance Theater of Harlem, Alvin Ailey. But not only that, they're our teachers, they're our lawyers. We've prepared them for post-secondary education. We have a 98% graduation rate from college. So that means young people are coming from our communities here in Memphis that are doing phenomenal things and coming back and giving back to their community. We are so elated right now. We are in full force in summer arts camp right now. So we have a building full of young people in our Orange Mound facility that was so graciously donated by the city of Memphis for $1. And so we thank you all so much for the support that you all have given us and continue to give.
Thank you, Ms. Norwood. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Please note for the record that we've been joined by Councilwoman Michael and Easter Thomas. Councilman Warren.
On your Cindy funding that you list, was some of this from the city of Memphis, or was this all council grants?
Oh, some of that was City of Memphis, and then some of that there were other additional grants through the Housing of Community Development.
But was it from the city council or city government?
Oh, no, city government.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Colleagues, my niece participated in this program, and I went to the presentation that they had. It was at the Rose Theater a couple of weeks ago. And when I say, just an outstanding presentation that they provided, they also had, as she talked about, youth who were alumni of this group. I can recall a young lady who currently attends Duke, who came home and talked about, her experience in this program. I think it may have been another young person from MTSU or UT Chat that was here. And so after attending that, I said that, this is going to be one of the organizations that I would encourage that we support. So thank you for the fine work that you all do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Goodwill Excel Center Mid-South, followed by Youth Engineered Success and Barber Skills Outreach.
Good afternoon. This is our first time being here.
Good afternoon.
My name is Chuck Malinsky. I'm Vice President of the Goodwill Excel Center. I have with me Cynthia Williams, who is our lead life coach. Our mission is to provide adults with an opportunity and support to earn a state-recognized high school diploma, but most importantly, to connect with post-secondary institutions while developing career paths that offer better than average employment and growth opportunities. Our organization was founded here in Memphis in 2014. We've had almost 900 graduates with a high school diploma. We have 97 that are going to graduate here next week on Friday. Our operating expense budget is $3.2 million. We're asking for $100,000 for vocational programs and transportation for our students. Without a high school diploma, the majority of our students really struggle finding and maintaining a living wage. Some of the examples: 60% experience food, shelter, clothing, and transportation insecurities. 47% with no computers. 61% no checking account. 84% unemployed and receiving public assistance. Average wage $5,200 a year. That's the problem. I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia for the solution.
As he said, the Excel Center brings about hope and economic opportunities to individuals and families of the Memphis and Shelby County community. Through our workforce development component, students are given necessary knowledge, skills needed to be successful in post-secondary educational setting, as well as they're giving hands-on job experience and allowed to earn industry-recognized certifications. Some of those certifications are CNA, Pharmacy Tech, Cosmetology, Microsoft Office, Business and Entrepreneurship, National Customer Service, Construction Builders, OSHA, and CDL.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions? Okay. None of my colleagues has any questions, but in looking at your presentation, I just wanted to point out for the public consumption, there's something that's talked about here is the solution, the impact of graduation, and there's a 246% increase in annual wages within 6 months for graduates from when they first enrolled in the Excel Center. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about that?
That's based on surveys.
Okay.
I mentioned that $5,200 is the average earnings per year for our students. Again, it's a survey and it's based on averages. So if you take somebody that makes $10,000 or $15,000, that percentage is a high, huge number. That's why that number is like that. Normally we get about $13,000 6 months after graduation and $20,000 after 1 year after graduation.
Well,
based on a percentage
yeah,
is what
no,
that's
no,
all
no,
about.
it's fine, but I still go back to what we've talked about on this council in the past is that, and I've always espoused that we don't have a crime problem, we have a poverty problem. We don't have an energy burden, we have a low income burden. And so a lot of, I just wanted to bring that to the public attention to really commend the work that you're doing, because if we can take people who may not necessarily have a GED diploma, give them some of the necessary life skills, then that helps. I think that lends itself to helping some of the other problems and issues that we face in our city.
Well, I
So
appreciate
great work.
that, because poverty affects crime,
Yep.
affects taxes. This is what we do.
Yep.
It's what we do, and I appreciate
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I noticed one of the asks here is for bus passes, and I don't know if we have the ability to like make that happen without council grants, or if there's a program that we can look at, or maybe talk to our MATA people and get that without hitting this council grant. So I just put that up for us to ask our staff to look into.
Okay.
Thank you.
MATA?
Yes.
We
Yes.
actually pay about pre-COVID, we were paying about $25,000 a year for our students to get transportation to and from. We're also looking at a Lyft program as well. So we have we're looking at My City Rides, who's going to present here in a little bit. We're looking at them as well. So any way to get our students to and from school, that's what we want to do.
Right, and so I think what Councilman Warren is alluding to is if you can use that 25,000 for another area, if we can work some ways for MATA to.
We spend about
sort
$4,500
of
on a commercial driver's license.
Okay.
So there's plenty of places where that money could go.
Well, and along those lines, we've talked about, colleagues, we've talked about their issues with commercial or driver's license, or commercial drivers, so could be some partnership there. Yes, Councilman Carlisle.
This is an interesting dialogue. We've touched on this subject. It's not directly related to you, but it is tangential to what you're talking about. Is there is a unique opportunity for MATA to take a more forward role in transportation of students to and from not only the Shelby County school system to other city resources. We've looked at, and this is in years past, back in like the Shea Flynn days, and a change in state law to allow for some of that financial participation, but it's a subject we should revisit that I started to look into, and then we got this whole COVID thing got us out of whack, but there is a larger, more meaningful conversation that could happen with this body and MATA and the state government as it relates to that, because it is a huge financial burden, and it actually would be an opportunity for MATA to grow as far as its revenues and resources and lessen the burden for Shelby County and the Durham contract. But for another time, but I wanted to bring it up because we should, there's a larger conversation to be had.
Well, let's, and this is still a budget, which is still I say that to say this is budget meeting, but this is still a subcommittee of the overall council. As we talk about, and what I would hope that we do later on this year, as opposed to waiting to next year, as we talk about what would be our legislative agenda and some of the things we would want to tackle in Nashville, would you please work with your staff in making sure that's on our discussion items for later on during the year?
We need to do a legislative session this summer.
We do. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you guys for listening to us. Appreciate it.
Please reach out to us. We would want to have further discussions about this idea of commercial drivers, getting people to your facilities, and so let's keep us in mind about that, and we'll keep you in mind. Thank you. Yep, indeed. Next, we have Youth Engineered Success, followed by Barber Skills Outreach, and if one family, Memphis, DVA, Memphis Rocks will make their way to the front as well. And your time will begin after you make your introductions.
My name is Robert Newman, and this is Clint Jackson. He's a former principal at Fairleigh High School. Youth Engineered Success goes back to 1971, our senior year in high school at Hamilton High School. We did not have a place to play any basketball. At that time, it was a little segregated. So we got involved with the basketball after we got our degrees and got out of college. And so this Youth Engineered Success and MLK ties in together. We're asking for $40,000. This year alone, we gave away $68,000 to schools alone, just schools, elementary, middle schools, high schools, because there's so many needs out there. And nobody knows students better than principals and teachers and coaches and educators. So we try not to miss anybody. Wherever you are, if there's a problem with eating, with clothes, with anything, we'll be there to help. The biggest thing that happened this year to us, believe it or not, was we got invited over to a school who needed wagons with seatbelts in it. They didn't have any way to move their kids who couldn't walk. And so we bought wagons and we bought high chairs. And boy, I mean, that kind of lit up the city. Right now, number one project for this coming up year is to get wagons wherever they're needed, high chairs wherever they're needed, whatever it takes to help children. That's what we do. I spent 39 years as a coach and teacher and educator in Memphis, Tennessee, and I know, and I've told a couple of city councilmen and council ladies, come go with me one day. Let me show you something, because if you don't see it, you really don't understand it. And I've got a lot of sloppy kisses and hugs from people who didn't reach my knees because they needed help and we were there to help them. And we're going to do that regardless of what happened. We're going to help kids. And I want to thank the city council because I can't begin to tell you how much your help helps us help children that you'll never know. And that's one thing I preach everywhere I go. You don't have to know people to help people. Help people. And good things that happen, not just there, all over this city. Memphis is a pretty good place right now.
Yeah. Mr. Newman, excuse me. Your time has expired, but I have a question for you. Is this your first time presenting a first request? No. Colleagues, any other questions for Youth Empowered Success? Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation, Mr. Jackson. As 3 former school board members, we are definitely familiar with you and your work, and thank you for your past work and your current work as well. Thank you. Good to see you. Have a good evening.
I used to could dunk, but I bet I can't walk now.
Next, we have Barber Skills Outreach, followed by One Family Memphis, DBA Memphis Rocks, and then the Independent Parent will follow that.
I can go do it for you. Good evening. My name is Jamal Arnold. I'm with Barber Skills Outreach, organization that was founded in 2018. This is not my first year receiving support from the City Council. Thank you for what you've already done in time past. At this time, we are looking to increase our requested amount to $60,480, and that goes towards tuition. Students, our mission right now has been, since we started, is to help aspiring barbers and mentor those who are in the barbering industry to be productive, not only be productive, but help them be entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years and being in the Fraser community, so I know about what it takes to maintain it. Also, giving young people, now they've passed a law indicating to help the young people in high school being able to get barbering license, 10th grade. So we've been reaching out to the Memphis City schools to help in that capacity. Also, with the funding, we're able to give students tuition reimbursement, also kits and things like that to help them be ready to use their hands. Also train them how to use their hand with a skill. Sometimes their hands are in the wrong things. We're trying to put their hands in the right things. So there is a heightened need for our youth, and we also deal with youth in the school, dealing with the younger people coming in. I've seen those, even the clients I've serviced in time past, start from the first haircut all the way up to their funeral arrangements. So we know how important barbering is in our community. So we're trying to just make sure that that is a highlight to help those youth that are in need. Also with that, we're also partnering with a barber shop, so not only just train them, but partnering with someone where they're be able to be placed. That's important as well along their journey of barbering, those who aspire in barbering.
Okay. Thank you. Colleagues, are there any questions for Mr. Arnold? Councilwoman Johnson.
Chair, for the opportunity. I'm on your budget page, sir. I'm not understanding, are you actually providing the training, or are you providing people grants to go to Barber School? Because I see where you're charging, asking for $7,000 per student.
I'm actually providing the training as well, bootstrapping, doing pretty much training. I'm an instructor, been an instructor now for right at 3 years as well, but I've been a barber for over 20 years.
Okay, so you're asking mainly for the funds to go towards us paying for 15 students tuition to attend your barber school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. Mr. Arnold, I have just a few questions for you. I'm looking at your presentation, and it talks about the amount of capital raised being $24,000. And I don't have in front of me all of we just have your presentation. We don't have any of your supporting documents.
Okay.
But looking at annual expenses of about $200,000, where does the difference in the $24,000 that you've raised and the other revenue that you would have to cover $200,000 worth of expenses, where does that come from?
Well, those expenses are tuition and...
No, well, I'm mainly talking about your additional revenue sources, not the expenses.
Sources,
yes.
Okay, additional revenue sources is our barber school. I also have a barber school that we partner with to help in the area of raising funds due to cutting hair, things of that sort, and community events as well.
And so those activities can provide about $170,000 of revenue.
Activities
well, do those activities bring in about $175,000 that would cover $200,000 worth of expenses?
Yes, sir. Doing cutting hair and different outreach as well can bring that amount and help also bring forth the organization to help those ones that want to join as well.
Okay, what I'll do, I'll just take a closer look at the supporting financial documents that you provided. Okay. If there are no other questions, just want to thank you for your presentation before us this afternoon, Mr. Arnold.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Next, we have Memphis Rocks.
You guys got a clicker, or how you want to do it? All right, each of just like point over to you and you flip it for me. I appreciate it. Sorry, let me adjust this. I'm a little short. That's good enough. All right. Hello, council members. My name is Thomas J. Preston. I am the development coordinator with One Family Memphis, Memphis Rocks, and this is our second time applying, first time ever making it to this fun process, so I appreciate your time. Memphis Rocks brings rehabilitation, healing, and a renewed sense of hope to challenged communities by providing a climbing facility and programs that foster relationships across cultural, racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. We exclude no one regardless of pay. So we have a pay what you can afford model. That means anyone can come in and take use of our programs or facilities as whenever they want, really. We are located in Soulsville, right across from Stacks in the South Memphis community. Thanks. There we go. Our request is for $50,000 to go towards a revisioning of our current after-school program. The new revisioning is titled Free After 3, a Rocks after-school program. The $50,000 would go towards the supplement of hiring additional staff to increase our programmatic capacity, as well as food costs. Every single youth that attends our after-school program gets a free meal. We find this is very vital, especially in the South Memphis community, which is considered a USDA-identified food desert. And the rest is for marketing and advertising purposes to increase our awareness of the program within the community. The problems that we are trying to address with this free after-school program is the lack of affordable, reliable after-school programs in the South Memphis community, once again, the USDA identified food desert, and to remove youth from the potential situations that would put them in violent criminal activities. The solution is the program is designed for youth age 12 to 17. It allows youth to participate in 5 different clubs, which are based around a STEAM-based curriculum, so that they can learn, grow as individuals, find mentorship, and flourish in a safe environment.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Councilman Warren.
Yeah, this is a very unique program. It's very unique in that it brings people in from all over the city that actually come and pay to do this based on their ability to pay. And so you have an interaction of all sorts of economic classes here and young people coming from all over the city. I know because my youngest son, every time he comes in from graduate school, he's at Rocks. And it's a great program, and I'll be helping to support you. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions for Memphis Rocks? Seeing none, Ms. Preston, thank you for coming down today and presenting.
Great. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Next, we have the Independent Parent, followed by Alpha and Omega Nutrition Program, and then the Tennessee Beauty, Barber, and Nail Tech Association. So if those 3 organizations can make their way to the front, and we'll hear from the Independent Parent first.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. If there's someone who can operate the PowerPoint, that would be appreciated.
If someone can operate it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can speak from that podium if you want to as well.
Do it now? Okay, great. Okay. My name is Sherelle Dakota Brown, and I am a member of the Independent Parent. Our primary mission is to serve single-parent households. I forgot to say push this button. Okay, there we go. By providing moral support, other services such as temporary housing and basic needs assistance. Now as far as the budget, I don't know, I've heard you speaking on the budget with others. We were told to change our budget for whatever reason, but our ask is for $13,350, and that's to expand on our summer youth program, as well as continue our operational support where we provide basic needs assistance. Our summer youth program is the ACT UP Child Behavior Enrichment Program, where we're seeking to teach children anger management techniques. And so I do have the director with me today who's going to speak on that program.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to discuss this program. The ACT UP program is under the umbrella of the Independent Parent. ACT UP is an acronym. ACT is for the arts, creativity, and theater. UP is for upward mobility and the positivity that we want our children and our families to be able to achieve and to accomplish in our community. The ACT UP program will serve students of different ages from 5 to 10 or kindergarten through 4th grade, which is the main primary grades. What I have seen as an educator, as someone who has been educating for over 20 years, I've often seen students who have been considered at-risk students, or children who people have labeled as bad children, or children who will not be able to succeed. And I don't believe that that is something that is true. There are students who can achieve, they just need the right tools, the right context, as well as be able to be reached through different avenues. The arts is a way to reach those scholars and to teach them to not just—
Ma'am, your time has expired. Let me see if there are any council members that have any questions. Okay, is this your first time applying and receiving funding?
I'm sorry, this is our 3rd time.
3rd time?
Yes.
Okay. Colleagues, any other questions? Okay.
Chair.
Yes.
Mr. I have a question. I wanted to know if the organization's primary focus is on parenting or support for the children.
Single parent households, so that includes the parent and child. And our summer program is targeting children who are socially and behaviorally challenged.
Thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
thank you. Colleagues, any other questions? Well, ladies, thank you for your presentation this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Could we possibly, for those of you that want to wipe down the mics, we're going to provide some cleansing wipes at each of the podiums, and so you could, since we have the monitor, I'm going to ask that people probably use the wipes as opposed to the spray. Yes. Okay.
Maybe we can sit it right. Just sit it right here.
Actually,
Okay. Gotcha. Next, we will have Alpha and Omega Nutrition Program, followed by Tennessee Beauty, Barber, and Nail Tech Association, and then One Room for Rent.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the City of Memphis for this opportunity. My name is Shedron Davis, and I am the Executive Director and founder of Alpha and Omega Nutrition Program, Incorporated. Our mission is to make nutrition a priority in daycare by educating child care providers. Due to the drastic increase of children in households struggling with food insecurity, we encourage child care providers to ensure that every child's nutritional needs are met on a daily basis. Therefore, since 2011, Alpha and Omega Nutrition Incorporated has been a Tennessee Child and Adult Care Food Program sponsor. We provided subsidized funding to support and educate over 200 child care providers in early childhood nutrition and served over 5,000 children, including older adults that have been fed nutritious approved USDA meals. Additionally, apart from that, from feeding hungry children and older adults, our support provides economic stability, long-term health benefits, and empowerment to women and children. We ensure that children and older adults are in a safe environment to thrive, which helps to bridge the poverty gap, as well as help to prevent crime and drugs in our neighborhood. Our organization has been heavily involved in the community, specifically in demonstrating our approach to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 and educating the early childhood community on COVID-19 safety protocols. Our agency led the efforts to ensure that 100 early childhood sites that were still open and operating in the city of Memphis had thermometers, masks, gloves, hand sanitizers, and more for over 1,600 children during the pandemic. Furthermore, Alpha and Omega Nutrition Program serves as an information hub for early childhood professionals and community resources by providing information on addressing food insecurities, health, and wellness across our city.
Okay. Colleagues, do we have any questions for Ms. Davis? There are none. Ms. Davis, thank you for your presentation.
And this is my first time.
Okay, thank you for notating that. Next, we have the Tennessee Beauty, Barber, and Nail Tech Association. Yes, ma'am.
When people apply, they need to make sure they know what district they're in because they're giving us county commission districts rather than city council districts. And please don't insult us. They need to know who represents them. So we don't have any districts 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if you have it on your application, you need to correct it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
I'm sorry, Sherelle Dakota Brown again. I am a member of the Tennessee Beauty, Barber, and Nail Tech Association. I'm a licensed cosmetologist where the primary mission is to serve the community, the beauty care for the public through educational events, programs, and to promote social and economic welfare of its members, workers in the beauty industry, and to aid those who are sick and indigent within the community. So our primary ask is for $18,750, and that is to continue the support of licensed cosmetologists and training for potential licensure of cosmetologists, building up entrepreneurs and teaching them how to acquire a skill. We're also looking to expand our reach so that we can provide, we can relieve the financial stressors of those who suffer a setback. A big majority of the cosmetology members that come through the program are low income, and some of them are just building up clientele. I do have the president with me, Miss Aubrey Simmons, and I see Miss Hazel Moore. She's a former president of the organization. And that's about it. We serve about 25 cosmetologists annually.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for this organization?
It's not your first time.
This is not your first time, correct?
No, this is like our third time.
This is the third time applying, but they've never received any funding.
Okay. Well, no questions from my colleagues. Ms. Dakota Brown and Ms. Simeon, thank you for coming down today and presenting.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Next, we will hear from One Room for Rent, followed by For the Kingdom, Inc., and then Two Unique Community Salvation.
I take my hats off to you guys, because every time I'm in here, y'all got y'all hands full, and y'all pretty good jugglers. My name is James Lester, and I'm the executive treasurer, and this is Miss Tiffany Williams. She's the secretary, and Mr. Goodman, he's one of the boarders, and Tiffany Williams is dying to come and talk in front of you big shots. I'm gonna let her have it.
How y'all doing today?
Good
My name
evening.
is Tiffany. As he said, I was the secretary, and I'm also a volunteer, and I'm mostly hands-on at the boarding house. I actually wanted to come and speak to you guys today. First of all, to thank you, because this is not our first time coming to you guys for this, but more about our mission is our rooming houses are not just rooming houses, they're actually homes. I'm actually speaking for all the elderly people that's actually pushed to the side. They have low incomes and can't barely eat. So what we do, our organization, is to give them a safe environment, to make them feel like they're loved and, you know, not just pushed to the side like they're nothing. I understand the kids are our future, but if it wasn't for the elderly, the kids wouldn't be here today. So I just wanna, I don't know, that we basically are asking for $6,240 just to help with the maintenance, because we had to get the mold done and we had the roofing and things like this, and when COVID hit. But I also I'm a home manager at another retirement home. And I just, you know, everything's expensive, just like if you have kids. But we just want that mission, because our boarders don't leave until they transition over to another life. But as that time, before that time transpires, I want them to be safe. There's too much going on that no one's there to protect them, and that's what we're here for, and that's really basically our mission. I'm not big for words. I don't have big words to say. I'm just passionate about what I do. So I didn't even go on the prompt. That's what we had the accountants for and the, you know, the other people for, but I can only tell you what our mission really was and what do we need that money for.
Any questions?
Okay, Councilwoman Johnson.
Could you give me the location of your home? What's the actual location
We
of
got
this?
1300 Ridgeway, District 4, and Super 8.
Okay, that's where the house is, the housing, where people actually stay.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's one of the best spots on that street. We
Okay.
Keep it up.
Okay.
And
Okay.
safe and comfortable.
All right, I'll be
And,
by there.
Mr. Goodman here.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lester,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
We need to move on.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, any other questions, colleagues? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll hear from For the Kingdom, Inc., followed by Two Unique Community Salvation and Saving Lost Kids, the Brian Callie's Foundation.
Greetings, Council. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Greetings.
I am with For the Kingdom, synonymous with For the Kids. We are in District 1, Super District 8, and we have had the pleasure of working with you all for 2 years. The first year was in the middle of the pandemic.
And your name, please, sir?
Excuse me?
Your name?
I'm Tory Bates.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Bates.
sir. And it is a pleasure to be with you all this year, especially seeing in December of this past year, I was shot in South Memphis. My vehicle received 16 shots with one bullet actually lodged in my neck now. And so the work that we do has obviously a much higher meaning for me in this year, feeling as if I'm on borrowed time. But we have been for 2 years, been answering the call since the pandemic, what is now referred to as Feed the Block Memphis. That work that we see started out feeding 50 young people in the pandemic. That at the end of last year, our goal was to share the love of Jesus by feeding 10% of the food insecure population. Last year alone, we fed over 76,000 children and families, grocery boxes and dinner 5 days a week. Our ask this year is not to continue to just to plug the dam of meals weekly, but to move on to the next approaches that we have. We're asking for $75,000 to not just work with the Raleigh community, but to work with 38105, 38106, 107, 108, 109, 114, and 118, 126, and 127, which are all ranked in the top 20 of the poorest zip codes in our state. We have partnered with DoorDash, where they're spending $1 million with us delivering our food to the doorsteps of children and seniors for another calendar year. Our goal this year is that we're weeks away from opening the first standalone grocery store in our city called Exodus Marketplace on our property. And we're asking for you guys' support as we continue to delve into now really repairing the breach as grocery prices rise over 40%.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for Mr. Bates, Councilwoman Johnson?
Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Where is your grocery store coming up at?
It's the address is 4076 Raleigh Millington Road. It's at the very front of our campus. It's been built out of all sustainable resources.
Okay. That's it.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Great. Councilwoman East Thomas, are you familiar with this organization? I ask that because I know of your initiative to try to address the food desert in our district. So I don't know if there was any type of coordination that could be, or conversations that have taken place in the past with this organization.
No.
Yes.
Definitely familiar with For the Kingdom. I know that's in Councilwoman Logan's district, but still supportive of their efforts and what they do for the community. Raleigh Millington is is another food desert. We get enough to go around for our districts in the city, but it's another food desert than the one we're looking at in our district closer down by Hollywood. So we definitely need more of what you're doing just to make sure we're getting to all of our people everywhere. So I thank you for that, and I'll be supporting this effort as well.
Thank you, Mr. Bates.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Certainly. Next, we have Two Unique Community Salvation, followed by Saving Lost Kids, and then the Academy for Youth Empowerment. If you all can make your way to the front, please.
Hello, council members. Thank
Hello.
you so much. I'm sorry.
No, just saying hello back.
Okay, hi. I am Roshonda Buchanan. This is my first time here. I'm founder and CEO of Two Unique Community Salvation Foundation. Our mission is to provide unique opportunities through career skills development, organizational leadership, and entrepreneurship to enhance professional development for youth and young adults by connecting people, purpose, and programs. We did start the organization in year 2005. And we're asking for this funding amount of $24,000 to assist us with our overhead, such as rent, as well as we have an innovative initiative, the Two Unique Closet Boutique, where we're helping families who have gone through house fires. We are located in the Hickory Ridge Mall, Hickory Hill. So that Two Unique Closet Boutique is really a boutique to help individuals feel good about themselves, as well as it's more than a boutique, it's a program. So it's career exploration, workforce development platform where we have University of Memphis students are coming to participate and receive their community service hours, helping us provide clothing and toiletries to families. We have certification training programs globally, and working with now Wall Street Bound Finance Education, where students or participants can receive credentialing in their FINRA SIE securities at $400 per participant. So those funds will definitely assist us with that. Our programs address the vast disconnect between personal talent and employment opportunities. We find that many participants on many academic pathways graduate unprepared immediately to obtain an employment.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for Ms. Buchanan? Ms. Buchanan, I have a couple of questions. You're asking for 20, is it for 24,000 or is it for 7,000?
24,482, that total amount.
Okay. So that appears to be what your total annual expenses are.
Okay.
So are you, so you're not asking for the city to pretty much fund the entire program, are you?
I was under the impression that I did have a little challenge figuring out the process, but I'm negotiable, so being able to understand those line items, I'm willing to renegotiate these figures. I just had a misunderstanding, evidently.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming down and presenting for us.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Next, we'll have Saving Lost Kids, the Brian Callie's Foundation, and then if Academy for Youth Empowerment, and then Couture Cares could make their way down. Indeed.
Okay. Hello, blessed to be here again. This is not my first time being here, and we've been blessed to be awarded from you guys before, so thank you for that. I'm Brian Callies with Saving Lost Kids, also known as Brian Callie's Foundation. I'm the founder, president, and CEO. Our mission is basically what it says, saving lost kids. We basically work to boldly serve missing, exploited, and sex-trafficked children. We do it in 3 ways. We first work on prevention. That's our hope, and our biggest goal is to always do prevention. We also have a search and rescue and a sex trafficking rescue team. That's our project number 2. And the third piece of that is what do you do with them after you recover them? And we're building currently the largest care facility for sex trafficked girls in the country, about 500 to 700 acres on that. Organization was started in 2016. We partner with just about every law enforcement group you can think of. So Memphis Police, Shelby County Sheriff, a lot of them are our advisory boards and also partner with us. Amy Warwick, Sheriff Bonner, Memphis Police, all those kind of things. We work a lot on the prevention side by going out to the community and doing outside events. So 150 events a year before COVID. Our goal is to go out, find where the children are that are in the dangerous areas, and then connecting them to the parents, get them 2 steps closer to safety. We are growing so fast and have so much impact that right now COVID kind of made a huge difference. Normally I have about 10 children missing around Shelby County at any given time. Right now we're at 30. And so it's grown so much that we have a real initiative to kind of build some new programs. And so some of these new programs are what this is funding is going to be for. One of those new programs is called Stand By Me, where we stand by the parents of the missing children so that we can also help them to get connected to the resources that they need to maybe improve that stability in that home life. We do a lot of wraparound services with that. We also have a new RV. So instead of with COVID kind of hurting us, we're going to do an RV logic. So instead of going out to the public, we can bring people to us. We also have a family outreach center at Hickory Ridge Mall. And so I know I'm past my time, but so we're headquartered out of District 1, but our impact is really throughout the entire Memphis community in Shelby County.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for Mr. Callies? Mr. Callies, I'm looking at the information that you've submitted to us, and it shows your annual budget of $489,000. However, when we look at the most recent tax filings, that shows that that revenues were less than 50,000. Can you reconcile those two numbers for me, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we did a postponement. Moved our taxes that are due this year that are going to be right around 90, which is what we're at now. The number we got from there is basically based on the CC Foundation, who's also trying to help us to get our budgeting right and trying to back our play a little bit. So they do a lot of matching grants, and that's what we're discussing with them. And so your impact will actually make a big difference in how they can match. We also brought on now a 31-member board, Sheriff Bonner, Amy Wyrick, district attorneys, a lot of the politicians around, Mark White, Senator Rose, and having them on the ability of trying to pull some of their resources, we really feel like we can hit that pretty quickly.
Okay, so, and like I said, I know that there are a number of organizations that have been affected by COVID, but...
Absolutely. And us, obviously, we did most of our impact with community events, anytime that there was a big event.
Well, let me ask a question. Let me ask my questions about your finances.
Oh, yes, sir. Uh-huh.
So, have there been years, and can you provide documentation where, because your ask is for 75,000?
Yes, sir.
But based upon what you filed with the IRS, you've never had revenues of over 50,000. So, if you could provide additional...
This year we'll have a 90,000. We had to do a true 990.
So where does the 490,000 in annual budget, where does that number come from?
That is our proposed budget for this year. We have yet to have met that actual budget this year. That's for the proposed budget. This is what we're hoping that we'll have from this year. We have a number of other donors and funders as well that are kind of putting into this as well. So that's our goal for this year.
Okay. So, this still goes back, and I'm making these comments for everybody here. We can't base our grants upon ambitions.
Yes.
We have to base them upon, we want to make sure that we want to help organizations, but we don't want to be the major funder of organizations, and because there could be a future council that says, we don't want to do this anymore. And we know that there's valuable work that's being done, but we want to make sure that there are organizations that can be viable if there's a council that basically says we don't want to do this anymore, but still have these needs addressed. And so from that standpoint, I'm not going to be supporting anyone that has aspirational funds versus funds that they've already collected. So if we're looking at, just from our general guidelines, an organization that has reported or filed less than 50,000, the max that we would generally do in that case would be about 15,000. Despite what you may have presented as your annual expenses, if there's nothing that could substantiate that, we just have to go on what's been substantiated with the IRS and with Uncle Sam.
Next week, when we have that 990, can I present that then to you as well?
Well, it looks like this was a 990 for tax year 2020. If you've filed other 990s that would show a different amount, then yes, that would be helpful.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
And I will do that.
Okay.
For sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Callies. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next, we will be hearing from Academy for Youth Empowerment.
Good afternoon. My
Good
name
afternoon.
is Jackie Mayo, and I'm with the Academy for Youth Empowerment. First of all, I would like to thank you for affording us the opportunity to present to you again, and thanks for your support and allowing us to make a significant impact within the greater Memphis community. The mission of the organization is to provide personalized programs that are intended to empower youth by offering them tools to help develop lifelong skills. So we believe that youth are capable of achieving their full potential if social, cultural, and legal barriers are addressed early on. Our organization was founded in September 1993, which was roughly 29 years ago. Our funding request that we're bringing before you is $24,380. The funding request is to support all the programs that impact directly the youth in our communities. So we're not asking for any operating expenses. These program expenses are being asked for to address the problems of poverty eradication that we're faced with in Memphis. As you can see, we have 39.6% of our children that are in poverty. And it's contributed primarily because of education, economic skills, and health. And what we think that we can do is we can continue to provide our youth that comes from disadvantaged family or underserved areas with the programs and activities to keep them engaged in something positive and in developing their skills. So what we primarily focus on workshops with education, whether it's ACT testing, preparation, if we have leadership development and partnership. So we're just here to support the youth that we're passionate about in our community. Are there any questions?
Colleagues, any questions for this organization and Mrs. Mayo and her wonderful mother? Okay, seeing none, we're very familiar with the work that you do, and I individually will be supportive of your continued work.
Well, once again, thank you for your outstanding support.
Thank you. Have a good evening, you all. Next, we'll be hearing from Couture Cares, and if New Start Foundation and Grooming Greatness could make their way towards the front of the auditorium, it would be appreciated.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shakiva Newsom. This is LaJoyce Harris, and we are representatives for Couture Cares in the absence of our Executive Director, Davina Jones, and we also sit on the Board of Advisors. Couture Cares was founded in 2014, and we became a 501c3 in 2015. Our mission statement is Couture Cares envisions a community where youth have access to opportunities, skills, resources, and relationships they need to fulfill their potential. We aim to develop, participate, and empower the youth. Couture Cares engages in youth through memorable events, community outreach, college and career readiness, and scholarships. Couture Cares focuses on youth empowerment through each of our programs, which is the Her Prom Closet experience, and we've serviced over 2,300 young ladies. The Floating Kitchen 901, we have serviced over 350 kids in the Memphis and surrounding areas and virtually because it is a virtual cooking class. We also have college and career readiness, where we service over 40 young ladies, and also scholarships, and we have awarded 8 scholarships to upcoming college students. Our funding amount requested is $14,500, and it goes towards our career readiness and college starter care package. It goes to our venue rental storage, our Her Prom Closet inventory, insurance, marketing, communications, equipment and program supplies, photograph, videography, and also goes towards our subscription technology and web internet. Is there any questions for us? And this is not our first time.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for this organization? Seeing none, ladies, thank you for your presentation. Have a good evening. Colleagues, next we have the New Start Foundation, followed by Grooming Greatness and the Memphis Gridiron Ministries.
My name is Trey Carter, and New Start Foundation, and thank you for the opportunity. We've been around actually since roughly about 1990 with my father, and I started a annual cookout where we helped individuals who were needing job placement through Olympic staffing, as well as other wraparound services such as food and toiletries. but we've expanded it to a 501c3 in 2019, which will now we provide with New Star Foundation. Our mission is to provide technical assistance, grants, job skills training to help those in impoverished and urban communities create a skilled workforce, sustainable local services, and build healthy communities. One of the things you all know I work with us is job skills training and employment. So coming from that background, we've helped a lot of individuals in our demand occupations such as logistics and transportation, as well as logistics, transportation, and distribution. So this will help individuals who are needing those skill sets, as well as connecting with the employers and having other services such as transportation. We mentioned that because part of it would be CDL training, which we see as a big need in our greater Memphis area. But we will help individuals cross that boundary of the skills gap as well as employment. And we work directly with employers, as well as we work with individuals such as Manhood University and Weiss, even within the city of Memphis, to help those individuals obtain gainful employment.
Colleagues, any questions? Councilman Warren, microphone.
Is this your first time applying?
Yes, we are first-time appliers.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Issa Thomas.
I just want to say, colleagues, that this institute is also getting a building in my district that has been blighted for a long time, to be able to move in to offer those services, and also space to other entities as well. And I don't, 2 minutes is really, really fast. I don't know if y'all mentioned it, but I know that they do help different departments in the city that need CDL licenses get that too, as a part of their mission. So they really are helping the economic workforce on all sides for the whole city. But I'm happy they'll be moving in my district and helping out with some blight. So I'll be supporting them as well for this session.
Yep. Any other colleagues, any other questions? Well, I'm familiar with the work. I didn't know that this is another arm in which your father's legacy is being continued, but I can recall the park that's up there, what is it, at Manassas and Poplar? Yeah, he used to have those food giveaways and cookouts on an annual basis, and didn't realize that you all had started the foundation with this.
Spending it year round now instead of one, and later
Gotcha.
day we're doing it all year long.
Well, this is going on a tangent a bit, but as Councilwoman Issa Thomas, I would hope that there's some conversations that you can have with MATA, because one of their issues is having CDL licensees, and so that would be a great help for this community at large, but I will be supporting this organization.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening. Next, we will have Grooming Greatness, followed by Memphis Gridiron Ministries, and then a New Beginning Community Organization, Inc.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all. I'm Maurice Johnson, founder of Grooming Greatness and president for the young men, and then Grooming Grace, my wife, for the young ladies. I will refer to them as GG. Our young people have many challenges that they're facing educationally. There are disparities, there's peer pressure, there's inappropriate behavior, lack of skills, and unemployment, just to say, just for a few. Grooming Greatness, GG, teaches young people how to navigate through life safely and successfully, teaching them according to the attributes of education, empowering them, encouraging them, exposing them. We found exposure is the key. Exposing them to principles, models, and experiences that change their habits, redirect their futures, and improves their culture. GG has been meeting each Saturday morning for the last 8 years at 9 o'clock. And that in itself and of itself is a feat. But GG has demonstrated commitment. We've demonstrated history of community engagement by providing food baskets, awards, and scholarships. And we have continually taught our mentees life skills training, technology training, ACT testing and assistance, school uniforms and supplies, speakers from all walks of life, from business, from entertainment, from government, from sports, and more, all of which helps to build a safer, stronger, and a more productive and more financially stable community. GG is literally building a more preventative culture. We believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, which brings me to GG's motto. In the words of Frederick Douglass, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Our total operating budget is $140,000. We're asking $40,500 for Grooming Greatness Grace. Thank you for your consideration and cooperation with us as we continue to serve constantly changing and a constantly moving community.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson. Colleagues, do we have any other questions for? Yes, and this is not your first time applying, correct?
No, sir, it
right.
is not.
Very, very familiar with it.
Thank you for all of your collaboration with us.
Thank you for your past work. Next, we'll have Memphis Gridiron Ministries, followed by New Beginning Community Organization, and then the Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County.
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. My name is Nyrone Hawkins. I am the new executive director for Memphis Gridiron Ministries. And the mission of the ministries is to utilize a unique environment of youth football to share and model the gospel of Jesus Christ to grade school boys and girls and to help to build selfless character in a challenging environment. They were very strategic in what we do. We're in the Binghamton community, and that's our community of choice because we wanted to provide an environment for young people to have a safe place, have a place where they know they have great leadership, where we can mentor young kids, and we use the sport of football to do it. So we're not trying to develop football players, we're trying to develop characters, and we're trying to teach them about the gospel in Jesus Christ through having coaches, volunteers, and parent engagement. One of our major themes is getting the community involved. We understand that if you give money, talents, time, and resources to young people, we still send them back to dysfunctional homes, expecting them to hold on to the things that we put into them. So we're going to be doing some things where we are working with parents to help them find jobs, to help them with unemployment. So we're a year-round program where we're working with kids, we're working with parents, and we can't save the whole city of Memphis, but you can best believe in 38122, we're going to do the best we can to make sure kids are afforded the opportunity to learn who Christ is, to learn who they are, and to start believing in themselves. And as I close, I tell you, I'm a product of that environment. I come from a single-parent home in Montgomery, Alabama. I stand before you today because of the game of football. It afforded me the opportunity to come to the University of Memphis, formerly Memphis State, to play football, to get a college degree. And I was fortunate enough to end up in the Hall of Fame at the University of Memphis. So we're excited about what we're doing, and we're trying to stack on top of what we're doing to reach even more people in our community.
Colleagues, any questions for Mr. Hawkins? Ms. Hawkins, thanks for the work that you do. This is not the organization's first time, right?
It's my first time.
Right.
It's not the organization's first time.
And I'm familiar with Mr. Hawkins. He's done quite a bit of work with youth. What sport is next? It's been golf, now it's football. What's next?
Wherever the Lord leads,
I understand.
that's where I go.
Well, thank you for your work, sir.
All right, thank you.
Colleagues, next we'll hear from a New Beginning Community Organization, then the Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County, and then the Memphis Teacher Residency.
Good afternoon. I'm Connie Booker. I'm with a New Beginning Community Organization, and this is my first time presenting. The mission of a New Beginning Community Organization is really to enhance the quality of life for children and families, to promote family preservation for the safety and well-being of children. Many of you may not know, but right now we have 1,200 children in foster care in Shelby County. And a lot of those children end up aging out of foster care with nowhere to go. A lot of them end up homeless, on drugs, or incarcerated. So a New Beginning want to ask for $15,000 to support our children and families in the North Memphis community. Basically 3810708 127 at Fraser area has the highest number of children that are coming in foster care. So we need the money to continue to support the children and the families. Family preservation is important. It's important for one, when the children come into foster care, a lot of times we think it's just because of a bad parent. We want to support the children, but we want to support the whole family. A lot of times parents have to make bad choices, and it ends up with the children being in foster care.
mom got to choose between going to work or leaving the children at home for a short period of time. So we want to ask for $15,000 today so we can continue to support children and families with wraparound services, bringing awareness to the family, bringing awareness to the community, and doing that reunification piece. A lot of times children do have to end up in foster care, but reunification is very important as well. So we're asking you all for the $15,000 today for those purposes.
Okay, colleagues, are there any questions for Ms. Booker and this organization? Councilman Warren.
Is this primarily for kids who are coming out of foster care and you're trying to help them with housing, or is it for kids who are still in foster care?
Well, it's a combination of the both, because the children that are in foster care, we have those that be 17, they coming up to 18. So we want to help those that are in foster care, those that end up being reunified with their families, but those that age out of foster care, we want to try to assist them with finding housing and take away the stigma from those that do age out. A lot of times they turn down the resources that the Department of Children's Services offer them because they say, I'm done, I'm 18, I'm out of here. But there are so many services that are there for them and they don't realize and understand because of the fact that they've been there for so long and they just want to get away. So we want to educate them.
How do you interact with the Department of Human Services? What's your role with them?
Department of Children's Services, I'm a coordinator with them. I work in the community. I've been working with Department of Children's Services through Cathedral of Faith as a collaborative leader, building community partnerships for the last 16 years.
Thank you. I just wanted to, it sounded like it was a little bit, there was government involvement, and then this is something that you built to try to fill a gap. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you, thank you. Question, I'm somewhat familiar with your organization. How about adoption? Is it not true that you also try to work with finding homes or go through the adoption process?
That's what the awareness process is we recruit for foster parents because there is a great shortage of foster parents in the city, and oftentimes children end up in the building overnight while they try to find placements for them. So we do recruit for foster parents and community representatives that sit in on those child and family team meetings where those decisions are made and those programs are put around the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. Thank you, Ms. Booker. Don't think that any other council members have questions for you, but thank you for presenting this evening. Next, we will have the Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County.
What do I click to move in? You can just click the mouse to advance, or you can go back to the arrows.
Okay, great, thank you. Good afternoon. My
Good
name
afternoon.
is Ellen Zahariadis, and I'm the Executive Director for the Humane Society of Memphis and Shelby County. Our mission is to save animals that have been injured, abused, and neglected, to prevent cruelty to animals, and to enhance the human experience through animal companionship. Our organization has been actively working in Memphis since 1933. We are a 501c3 organization, and this is our first time requesting funds from the Memphis City Council. We are asking for $53,186.96 to be precise, and this funding is to help us cover the expenses for animal care supplies. Those supplies include all of the medical items that we need to perform our low-cost spay-neuter surgeries and spay-neuter surgeries for the animals that we care for, to provide vaccines and administer vaccines, and to provide any other medical care for animals that are seen through our low-cost clinic, as well as the animals that we take in from the community each year. The problem that we are addressing is that veterinary care for many Memphians with low incomes can be very prohibitive. Sometimes that results in decisions to either not vaccinate their animals or not perform a spay-neuter surgery, which contributes to the problem of stray and unwanted animals in our community. The solution that we have come to is that we can continue to provide these services through our low-cost community clinic. We continue to take animals in and make sure that they're spayed and neutered before they get adopted, and to continue to adopt animals into loving homes. Our goal is to reach at least 1,000 people this year through our low-cost community clinic, to continue to offer our support services in the community, and to continue to take in animals and adopt them out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions for the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County? Councilman.
This your first time applying, you said?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
This is our first time requesting funds.
Great. Thanks for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from the Memphis Teacher Residency, followed by the Carpenter Art Garden, and then the Consortium Music Memphistown.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is David Montague. I'm the Executive Director of the Memphis Teacher Residency, and I'm here requesting funding specifically for our Memphis Literacy Institute. We are located in District 7, and we serve Districts 1, 2, 4, 6, and Super 8, and we're requesting $100,000. Our city has a reading crisis. According to last year's state assessment, third grade students in Memphis Shelby County schools declined to 14% reading proficiency, while students in our poorest neighborhoods and schools declined to 4.5% proficient. That's less than 1 in 20 third graders who can read at grade level. Poor reading significantly decreases a child's likelihood of graduation from high school, attending college, or gaining the skills to meet our city's job requirements or their ability to raise families above poverty. 7 out of 10 adults in the prison population cannot read above a 4th grade level, and research shows that there's almost no improvement in reading proficiency rates past the 3rd grade. Fortunately, this problem is solvable. There is research and examples demonstrating how to teach children how to read. The Memphis Literacy Institute has been established by the Memphis Teacher Residency to train and support teachers and schools on how to create appropriate and meaningful reading experiences so that every child can read at grade level. MTR is a 13-year-old institution that recruits, trains, and supports teachers for our city's most underserved schools. We've trained more than 650 teachers, and 334 of them are still working as educators within Memphis high-need schools. For the last 3 years on the Tennessee Teacher Prep Report Card, the Memphis Teacher Residency was scored as the single highest teacher training organization in the state. The Memphis Literacy Institute, now in our 2nd year, leverages our expertise in teacher training in the critical area of literacy. Our work has received early endorsements from the following foundations: Hyde, Pyramid Peak, Poplar, Briggs, Assisi, Christian Community Foundation, the Bill and Chrissy Haslam Foundation, and the Urban Child Institute, in addition to a literacy partnership with the Memphis Shelby County Schools. However, to be sustainable and scalable, public support is critical, and now is the time to support existing, proven, and doable work in literacy with an experienced local provider. And so we request that Memphis City Council consider allocating resources specifically to our Literacy Institute as a response to this great need in our city and in an expectation of a bright future literacy can provide to our children.
Thank you, Ms. Montague. We have questions from Councilman Carlisle and Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any questions. I just want to make a comment. I haven't said much today, and I know a lot of wonderful people are doing wonderful work, but I've had the opportunity to know David since I was a young man back in like elementary school, and he started an organization known as Service Over Self and SOS, and that's how I first got introduced to him and the good work that was going in and around Binghamton. And he left after many years and getting that organization stood up and started MTR, and is it 13 years? Has it been? Yeah. So anyway, I just want to take an opportunity just to thank you as a Memphian, just again, as somebody who has identified a problem, rolled his sleeves up, and tried to work on finding solutions to the issues that face the city, and I'll certainly be supporting you. And just wanted to thank you for all the work you've done over 2.5 decades here in Memphis.
Great. Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Warren.
I'd like to echo that. Specifically, it's been great work. Thank you. Do you use phonics with Memphis Teacher Residency as the way you're teaching kids how to read?
Yes, that's an important strategic part of our work, foundational skills, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people may not understand that, but that's something that was taken away out of public education for a long time, and research has shown that that is the best way to get kids to read. So I'm glad to know that that's what you're doing. Thank you.
That's correct.
Mr. Montague, can you, so this is specifically for the Memphis Literacy, Initiative Institute?
That's correct.
Okay.
The
What,
umbrella organization is the Memphis Teacher Residency.
right, yeah, I'm familiar with that, but,
We've created
yes.
an institute known as
Okay.
the Memphis Literacy Institute for work specifically in teaching teachers in schools how to provide a literacy-rich environment.
Okay, so this would be teaching the teachers, not necessarily the children themselves, but the teachers who impact the children, is it?
Correct. This would
Okay.
be primarily to teachers and to schools and school leaders for how
Okay.
to create a school environment and how they also can train their teachers as well. So we're training teachers directly and also working with schools to provide a quality reading experience.
Okay. And so, yeah, as Councilman Smiley indicated earlier, I will, until I'm off the council, I will be saying this. We may not be in the education business anymore, but we should always be in the children business and recognize the need and the role that literacy plays in their overall academic success. So I will be supporting this, don't know to what magnitude, but would be very interested in seeing how this can be scalable throughout the district, well, throughout the city and throughout the district. Thank you.
Greatly appreciate all of it. Thank you.
The Carpenter Art Garden is next, followed by the Consortium Memphis Music Town, and then Freedom from Unnecessary Negatives.
No, let's go. Okay, awesome. Hi, my name's Megan. I'm the executive director of the Carpenter Art Garden. This is our second time presenting to y'all. It is a little more nerve-wracking in person. I'm trying to get the slideshow to go. Our mission, we are working with the children of Binghamton to promote each one's creative potential and self-worth through exposure to art, education, and vocational programs. We were founded in 2012, so we are celebrating 10 years this summer of programming. We're in Binghamton. We're requesting $140,000 to support the art, education, and vocational programs, specifically our community vegetable gardens, bike shop, and teen job hub. So the problem, on top of a pandemic, systematic stressors such as poverty, transportation, violence, a lot of our program participants and their entire families are operating on high alert. The Carpenter Art Garden serves as a therapeutic landscape and an emotional retreat for a lot of neighborhood youth and their families. We have free accessible programming on the school street right by Lester and Cornerstone Prep. And we feel that our programs address all the issues y'all have listed on the application: drug and crime prevention, youth empowerment, economic development, and poverty. The solution, so these programs are designed to address critical needs facing the neighborhood. We do this with community leaders leading programs for community members. 5 of our 7 staff are Binghamton residents, with 4 living on Carpenter Street, where our campus is. We also have a teen staff of 8 that will start their orientation on Monday. Between the 8 of them, they have over 64 years of experience at the Carpenter Art Garden. So our programs, some of them are listed here in the application, outside of art programming with the vegetable gardens, providing pop-up market, neighborhood bike rides. It goes on, but I'm out of time. Does anyone have questions? Thanks, y'all.
Colleagues, questions for the Carpenter Art? Councilman Warren.
How do you interact with the local community center there? What sort of interactions do you have?
So right now, it's more resource sharing. We're neighbors, obviously, we're right across the park there, but they've been really wonderful, especially during the pandemic when both of our roles shifted to, like last year when we were presenting, we were talking more vaccines, food drives, offering resources like PPE and stuff like that. So they've been really great communicating with us, like we have an excess of this, we have an excess of this. And they've also been really great partners as we're starting up adult bike rides again this summer, sending people our way who are looking for activities but might not be available at the community center there.
Great. Councilman Carlisle.
Jeff had to go. I really love the work you're doing. I'll also be supporting you, and we support you guys through our children's schools and everything. It's really kind of a fascinating setup, and especially in Binghamton. It's much needed. So really appreciate the work you're doing, and congratulations on 10 years.
Oh, thank you so much. See y'all in August. We're having a party.
There you go.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there any representative here for the consortium Memphis Midtown, Music Town? No, sir, not yet.
Okay, sir.
If not, we'll hear from Freedom from Unnecessary Negatives, followed by My City Rides, and then Daughters of Zion, All Women's Bible College.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Rosalind Moore, and this is Stevie Moore. He's the founder and president of Freedom from Unnecessary Negatives. I want to give you some brief data. CDC reported this week that firearms is the leading cause of death of our American young children, ages 1 to 19. And the state of Tennessee reported that the child fatality reported 895 deaths occurred to children under 18 due to the gun violence. Last month, we can go on and say, last month, Lavona treated 43 children that were affected by gun violence. We have statistics showing what is it that we do, where is it that we go. Fund goes into communities with the highest homicide rate, and especially those rates with youth. And those are the most underserved communities. We also are in the 38109 district where we're physically located, and we found recently that that district or that zip has the highest rate of drug overdose for African American men. What are we planning to do with your funding, and what we continue to do with that is that we were able to partner with a group that comes to our office, and they provide free UCAN, drug testing. They'll provide a place for someone to get immediate beds. We continue to console victims. When we give you that data, it's more than that to us. We have victims that come and they want to have resolve to the lost loved one. So when they come out there, I'm happy to report, especially in Councilwoman Rhonda Logan's district, that 4 families were able to be transitioned to safety during that event. Not only that, but information is being shared with law enforcement about homicides and rapes, and those cases are being resolved as well. We'll continue to blight because we all understand the Office of Juvenile Justice and the Office Programs of Justice are talking about the same thing. If we're going to tackle gun crimes, we've got to be aware. We've got to do more education. We have to do more engaging. And those are the same. Oh, let me move on.
Ms. Moore, your time is up. Let me see if any of, we're very familiar with the work that you've done. This is not your first time coming before council. So I'll see if any of my colleagues has any questions. Okay. Seeing none, thank you for the work that you do. Have a good evening. Next, we'll be hearing from My City Rides, followed by Daughters of Zion, All Women's Bible College, and then STS Enterprise Corporation.
What do I do to advance it? Just click. Awesome, thank you. Council members, thank you so much for having My City Rides come before you and present today. My name is Megan Klein, and I'm here on behalf of our organization. We have presented before you and received funding before, but we are excited to provide a few updates as to the growth of our organization. We have been in the middle of a $3 million campus campaign since October of 2020. And we have successfully completed that campaign, and the work is almost complete at our new campus, which will be located in District 5 at 3155 Summer Avenue. We are currently still offering services at our site just south of Crosstown, and in that site we have put more than 340 folks on the road as a workforce mobility solution. We are 4 years into our program. We've now graduated 66 folks that own their own scooters outright, and we're continuing to grow. The pandemic slowed demand as people worked from home or lost employment, and so we maintained services, but now we are seeing pre-pandemic level demands, and we are excited to put at least 100 folks, if not 200, on scooters this year. So we're looking forward to that growth. We have asked for $100,000 from the council to help support putting new folks on these scooters. We have a new financing partner in Southern Security Federal Credit Union. This allows our program participants to be able to build credit while they're participating in our program for a 1% interest loan, which is less than $120 in the total scope of the program. We're still providing training, equipping, and support for folks as they go through the program. Liability insurance is a part of that package. So in total, our participants pay about $105 a month for 3 years to own their independent transportation. We have enrolled more than 36 employers in our program partnership, and they are offering this as a cost-neutral way to help their employees have a perk that helps them get to work. It's economically viable, it's a time saver, and it's helping families as well as the individuals participating. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Colleagues, any questions for Ms. Klein? Ms. Klein, I have a question. I see in your presentation that there are more than 350 individuals that have been enrolled in the program to date.
Correct.
What type of retention do you have? I know that, is that the number that's that's come through? What would be the amount that you say was in the program right now?
Sure. Well, and we have a rolling enrollment. So every 3 years, we're going to be graduating a class. So we've just graduated 66 folks in the last year. That was our first class of graduates. At this point, we have a retention rate of about 85 to 87%. And that is improving as we have gotten better at establishing a vetting process to figure out how financially stable folks are when they're coming into the program. We don't want to create debt that folks can't pay, so we do require employment, but we are able to offer secured loans for working students now as well, which is how we're going to help the Excel Center and how we're a part of the recent University of Memphis TANF grant as well. So students as well as folks that have been employed a minimum of 90 days are eligible for our program as long as they're over the age of 18.
Great, and great retention work. Okay, seeing no other colleagues with questions, thank you for your presentation and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Next, we will be hearing from the Daughters of Zion All Women's Bible College. That will be followed by STS Enterprise Corporation and then Streets Ministries.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kimberly Adams, and I'm a representative of the Daughters of Zion All Women's Bible College. Our intent today is to discuss my Mentor My Business program that's part of our Bible College. The mission of the Daughters of Zion is to promote wealth and create an equity for all through implementing programs and initiatives that achieve community lift through entrepreneurship, education, and social justice. We've been in existence since 2006. We are a 501(c)(3) program, and we are part of District 3, Super District 8. As you can see, we're asking for $50,000, and this is our first time presenting under this forum. We are currently a part of the SBA that we received a $500,000 grant for our actual program. The issue is that our expectation is, our one-year goal was to have 240 minority businesses or entrepreneurs to come into our program, and at this time we are at 750, so therefore we are in need of more help. Our businesses, within this past 6 months, we're already at 725. We have doubled our one-year goal, but our money has not doubled. And we are currently on track to have 1,000 small business owners by December of this year. If we can raise the revenues of these brand new entrepreneurs or these early entrepreneur businesses from $30,000 to $100,000, we expect to bring over $100 million to the city of Memphis. And the purpose of our program is to teach them how to market and to become loan eligible, how to fix their credit, as well as increase their business profiles with local banks. We are currently partnered with Paragon Bank, Pinnacle Bank, and Christian Brothers University. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, any questions for this organization? Okay, seeing none, thank you for your presentation. Have a good evening. STS Enterprise Corporation, then Streets Ministries, and then Victorian Village.
Good evening. My name is Alton Cryer with STS Enterprise. I'm accompanied by our first employee, Ms. Kimberly Tillis, who's our Chief Collaboration Officer. I want to identify two updates. Our 980EZ, it was an update. I sent the incorrect one with our file. It was sent to you all via email, and also on the amount raised, it's actually supposed to be $102,031. I want to make sure I updated the discrepancy.
Okay.
STS Enterprise, our mission is we equip youth and college students with transferable skills and experiential learning opportunities that build character while empowering them to economically and socially impact their communities. Our vision is to infuse the world with young leaders who embrace the idea of making excellence the norm. Currently, the problem across the nation and the Memphis community specifically, there is a disconnect between career exposure and the pipeline of talent that pertains to post-secondary opportunities for students of color. There's also a secondary challenge when it comes to students from historically marginalized communities obtaining gainful employment in a career field that aligns with their chosen degree or skill set. Furthermore, students of color in particular have to deal with mental challenges that affect their ability to achieve their fullest potential. Our solution, as a result of these problems in the Memphis community, STS has devised a holistic approach to post-secondary supports that identifies first-generation college scholars. Our program includes exposure to diverse career fields, access to community-minded peers, exposure to corporate mentalities of tours of Fortune 500 companies, exposure to local colleges, and leadership workshop opportunities, as well as consistent mentorship even after program completion. STS endeavors to get local professionals involved in the program to empower the next generation. Our program participants volunteers provide feedback and solutions to grow our young people and our different stakeholders to have the power to create and develop initiatives that empower their peers, mentors, and the larger community. Specifically, our last graduation class of college students averaged an amount of $60,000 of salary coming out of college, and we recently graduated. We have over 30 alumni from our high school program that have graduated in military or in a post-secondary opportunity.
Okay. First time applicant?
Sorry, it's our second time presenting, and the first time we did receive funding.
Okay. Yep. Colleagues, any questions for this organization? Councilwoman Issa Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say this is an outstanding organization that really goes in, and not just with the folks at UM, but across colleges across the city, and really, really, really impacts the young men and women that come through this program. So I'm glad that we were able to get them on first year last year, and I'll be continuing to support them this year. Hope you all will too.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Issa Thomas. If there are no other council persons that want to be recognized, we thank you for your presentation. Have a good evening. Next, we'll be hearing from Street Ministries, followed by Victorian Village, and then Memphis Athletic Ministries. Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Valentine, Executive Director of Streets Ministries, here located in Memphis, Tennessee, and this is not my first time presenting, and thank you guys for taking the time to allow me to present. I am here today to represent Streets, where our mission is to engage, encourage, and equip youth to achieve their potential by realizing their God-given purpose. And we do that every day by what we like to call more mentoring, outreach, recreation, and education. We have 2 facilities in the city, one in 38126. That'd be District 6, and I think the super districts as well. And also we have a location at 1304 North Graham in District 5. We serve about 300 students a day from our community schools. We do mentoring, outreach, recreation, educational programs for those students. We're here today requesting $75,000 to go toward primarily towards our programming and our summer enrichment activities. This summer, we will host summer camp for 100 students, which will include competitive robotics, of course, the STEM, literacy programs. We'll take kids to summer camp to Kids Across America as well, another group of 30 students there, and just the academic support, tutoring, mentoring programs that we offer throughout the school year. Last thing I will share with you guys is some of those quantitative goals is to support those students as they graduate. Our goal is for students in our mentoring program is for them to graduate high school, to enter post-secondary, whether that be the workforce, military, whether that be a vocation school, We think that is success. They're winning if they're being productive. Thank you for your time and any questions.
Mr. Valentine, good to see you. Colleagues, any questions for Mr. Valentine and Streets Ministries? See none, bid you good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Victorian Village, CDC. Check that stack.
Hello, I'm Scott Blake. I'm the Executive Director of Victorian Village, and this is our second time to apply for funding. Victorian Village is a community development corporation, been around since 2006. We're mostly known for economic development with helping to encourage infill residential and commercial. Orleans Station is one of our most visible examples right now. However, our boundaries also take in Poplar Avenue from Danny Thomas to Manassas. And we're very proud to say that we have the largest concentration of homeless support services in our neighborhood. We work with organizations like Door of Hope, the Union Mission, Hospitality Hub. And this partnership came from a grant from HCD for the COVID CARES Act. We started going and doing COVID mitigation treatments at these facilities where people could not isolate if they were sick. It was a very successful program, and we realized then that we needed to create a job creation program and a way to get people to and from these jobs from the homeless community in our neighborhood. Many of the individuals have difficulty getting stable employment when the transportation to and from work is unreliable or non-existent. And poverty conditions persist when jobs are inaccessible. We've canvassed the residents in our area, and the lack of reliable work transportation was a top priority in our homeless community. So the solution would be to provide the reliable and on-time daily rides door to door from home to job. And your funding last year of $11,000 helped us do that with two 15-passenger vans. We actually give rides to about 50 persons a day currently, and our request is for an additional grant this year of $17,500 to add a third passenger van.
Okay, thank you for that. We have questions from Councilman Warren.
I know that First Presbyterian is getting ready to give away a van that was given to us by Idlewild. Do you want a free van?
Would we take a free van?
So contact the minister at First Presbyterian Church, Corey Phillips.
Okay, thank you.
Murtry, okay?
Yes, yes.
Thanks.
There are no further questions. We want to thank you for coming out this evening and making your presentation. Have a good evening. Next, we will be hearing from Memphis Athletic Ministries, followed by Port of Leith, and then the Binghamton Development Corporation.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
Good to be here. My name is Brian McCurry. I am Chief Development Officer of Memphis Athletic Ministries. Jonathan Torres is our president. Memphis Athletic Ministries has existed since 1998, so we're entering our 25th year of ministry, heading into the year 2003, serving the youth of the city. We exist to coach, grow, and lead the youth of Memphis by helping them discover their identity in Christ and their purpose in the community. We share the gospel with young people through sports and provide a safe place along with strong mentors and MAM coaches to provide the support that the young people need. We serve children 8 to 18, so we're all the way through the high school years, which I'm really proud of that we get to do that. We serve through after school programs. We've rebounded actually very well this year in the school year, which we're excited about. As we ended the year, we're around 425 students average daily in our sites, representing about 800 different students weekly that are there at a MAM location. And in a year, we serve around 1,800 students. skip to our funding. We have an annual budget projected for 2023, $2.8 million. And so we're requesting 10%, which would be $290,000 for our services and our programs. That's a big number, but I would love to remind you that we never charge students for our after school. We never charge students to play in our sports leagues. And so this is a service that we provide to the community, free to families and free to kids. We really want to see potential unleashed in these young people. We find that happens best through a relationship with a MAM coach and volunteers that are partners with us in ministry. So we would love to continue the ministry that we've done in that way over the next year.
Great. Colleagues, any questions for ma'am? If not, thank you, Ms. McCurry. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Port of Leith, followed by Binghamton Development Corporation and Communities and Schools of Memphis.
All right, my name is James O'Toole. I'm Development Specialist with Port of Leith. We've been serving the Memphis community since 1850, and our mission is empowering children and families to achieve a healthy, optimal, and independent lifestyle. And we do that through 6 programs. The program that we're requesting funding for is our Books from Birth program. So early literacy program that provides books, a free book each month to participating children in the Memphis and Shelby County area. By getting children interested in reading at an early stage in life, it sets them up for success later in life. So we're requesting $25,000 that's going to go directly towards the program expenses, and that expense being the cost of the books as well as the postage to get the books to the children and community. For every child that's enrolled, it costs $34 to get books to them every single month. And for every $21 that we raise, we get matched $13 from the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation. So based on that $34 per child, a $25,000 grant would equate to impacting 1,190 children in the Memphis community. So I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Council members, any questions for Port of Leith? Seeing none, Mr. O'Toole, thank you for your presentation and thanks for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Binghamton Development Corporation, followed by Communities and Schools of Memphis, and then Creative Life, Inc.
Thank you all. My name is Noah Gray. I'm the Executive Director of the Binghamton Development Corporation. Binghamton is in Super District 9 and District 5, and so this is our first time requesting funds of this body, so thank you for your kind consideration of the request. The Binghamton Development Corporation is going into our 20th year in Binghamton, and we work to address issues of generational and systemic poverty, and we do that by investing in people and investing in property. And our request today is a people investment. We're asking for $40,000 to support training wages for our new business hub initiative. So 56% is the number that is the labor rate participation in Binghamton. So the labor participation in Binghamton is 56%. It's very low. Area median income or median household income is $26,000. So we've got a large push to make progress on improving generational and systemic poverty. And so we've been doing workforce development for 15 years in the neighborhood. And our new business hub is in an 82,000 square foot warehouse that was donated to the Binghamton Development Corporation. And we are taking trash and we are turning it into jobs. We are taking discarded tires, street lights, styrofoam, and mattresses off the streets, cleaning up blight, creating a more sustainable city, and we're turning that into jobs. And just a quick story, in 2012 in our job training program, a young man named Picasso walked up to a job that we were running and he was homeless. Today, he is our job training manager and he is managing $20 million in real estate assets. Wow. Job training works. It gets people into the workforce, and sometimes people just need a second chance, and this is what we're doing. 0% of what you would be funding would cover any overhead. 100% of the funds that we're requesting will cover training, wages, and helping people into the workforce for the first time. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions for Mr. Gray? Councilman Warren.
Just quickly, I've worked with Mr. Gray. His organization's done good things in Binghamton, and good organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman Warren. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Have a good evening.
I appreciate you too.
Thanks. Communities in Schools of Memphis, followed by Creative Life, and then Uplift Westwood Community Development Corporation.
Good evening, council members. So excited to be with you all this evening. I'm here on behalf of Communities and Schools of Memphis. My name is Darren Thomas II. I am the Director of Development at Communities and Schools of Memphis. I'm just thrilled to be with you all to just share a little bit about our work. You all have supported us in the past, which we are exceedingly grateful for. This request is really to continue our work, in particular about supporting our programmatic functions. Communities and Schools of Memphis works in schools to ensure that students get access to resources that are non-academic in nature. Your support this year at $65,000 will support school, what we call school program materials and support. What that really looks like is, for example, if a student is currently struggling with mental health issues, we help them to get connected to mental health resources and services. Maybe a student is actually struggling with bullying. What we can do is help that student to unpack the reason for their bullying, which many times is related to uniform usage or their uniform or their clothing. And so your funding will help us to actually provide those students with new clothing to ensure that they no longer have to suffer through bullying. We are exceedingly grateful for you all and your support in the past, and we hope that we can continue to have that support this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions, colleagues? Yes, we do. If there are no questions, it's very good to see you, sir. Please tell Mrs. Branch I said hello. Thank you all for the wonderful work that you do in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Next, we'll be hearing from Creative Life, Inc., Uplift Westwood Community Development Corporation, and the last one is Moxie Wave this evening.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I represent Creative Life, a youth empowerment community that promotes social change through educational enrichment, leadership development, and the avenue of the creative and performing arts. I am Carolyn Bibbs, founder and CEO of Creative Life Incorporated. We have proudly served Memphis and the children of Memphis for 44 years, and I am delighted to say we survived the pandemic. The problem that we confront is not a city problem, but problems that plague the world: homelessness, crisis within the family, gangs, drugs, violence, in enormous proportion, teen pregnancy, school dropout rates, and more. We feel every child is entitled to walk through an open door of success. Creative Life offers that opportunity as we embrace the unembraceable, educate those deemed unteachable, and empower the powerless. And by enriching these young lives, we have opened doors to a successful life. We've been, Creative Life, satisfied a 30-year mortgage in 5 years after purchasing a 28,000 square foot warehouse that we call home for our after-school program, for our school. We have an approved school, for our daycare, for our, just whatever it is there, our food program. Because of our open door policy, we have attended many high school graduations and university graduation. This is where we address our need and help and ask for the help and the assistance of the Memphis City Council in fulfilling this dream for our children. We now embark upon a new venture, building a STEM laboratory in South Memphis. We are in phase 2, completing demolition and rebuilding of the designed area of 1,500 square feet. This area will house the latest technology, science and equipment, 3D printers already purchased, and much more. Thank you so much for your time.
Colleagues, is there anyone that has a question for this organization? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation this evening.
This is our first time.
Okay, first time,
We're in
okay.
District 6.
Great, thank
And
you.
thank you for your time.
Thank you for that information. Yes, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Robinson.
You're building a STEM academy and you're asking us to help you with the employee wages, the employee taxes, for the new STEM lab. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, these funds will be designated for the STEM lab. We're already phase 2, we're going into phase 3.
Okay. I just want to share with the council members, I've supported this organization for years. They do a phenomenal job in the South Memphis area, and I will be supporting her endeavors.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robinson. Next, we'll hear from Uplift Westwood Community Development Corporation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am Pastor Melvin Watkins, and I'm the board chair of Uplift Westwood CDC, and I'm here with our board member, Michael Deutsch. Uplift Westwood CDC exists to uplift Westwood through meaningful initiatives that empower the residents and add economic value to the community. Our organization was founded in 2019. This is not our first time. We have 2 years where we receive funding through city grants. We're located in District 6. We call it Ford Country. District 6 and Super District 8. That's where we are. We have, our focus is really on Westwood. Not the entire 38109, but specifically Westwood, where we have an opportunity to serve up to 6,000 residents. Today, as you note in our request, we're requesting $51,000, which is 30% of our reflected 990. You have before you a goal that we're reaching towards, and we have a significant amount of that secured already, but we're asking for $51,000, and those funds will go towards 3 initiatives. One is a community garden. We're working on getting the community garden. We are pretty much 60 to 70% there. We have already secured partners to help us with the community garden. We have the land ready for our neighborhood to enjoy the community garden. We're asking for support also with Jobs for Tennessee grads. We have been supporting the Jobs for Tennessee grads in Westwood High School for the last year. And that's a very great program where our young people are able to receive help. And we're also asking for $41,000 for the Stewardship Academy, which is a summer camp that focuses in on financial stewardship, personal stewardship, and also stewardship of our neighborhood. And thank you very much. My time is up. Do you have any questions?
Colleagues, any questions for this organization? Seeing none. Councilwoman
I don't
Roberts.
have a question. I just want to
Statement,
say
yes.
that they are my next door neighbors and I will be supporting them and make sure that I get some of those fresh fruit and vegetables out of your
Yes, ma'am.
garden,
You want to get some of that?
whatever you
Yes,
have.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But
Bring them up here.
bring them up here. But what I wanted to say is that I appreciate them asking us to support Jobs for Tennessee graduates. The program is back in the city of Memphis because Councilwoman Robinson reached out to Nashville to say, I didn't know that we had that program in the state of Tennessee anymore. I used to work for them probably 30 years ago. And it's really important when I read an article that there was students that getting the value of that program all over the state, but not in Shelby County. So this is their beginning here, and I hope that we will support this program with you, and probably they need a little more than that. It is a very valuable program, and I know that it will help our students get the training they need to get jobs. And if they don't go to a technical school or get the skills that they need while they're in high school, they encourage them to go to college, and they have a great success rate. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Bassett, good to see you. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Mr. George, have a good evening as well, sir. Our last presentation this evening is Moxie Way.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Whitney Watson. My partner's name is Marissa Williamson. We're the executive directors of Moxie Way Incorporated. We were founded in 2020, so we are a fairly new organization. We have served around 780 people as of date of up until 2021. We recently moved out of District 4 and moved into District 5, where we are located in the New Horizon Apartments and Pepper Tree Apartments, where we serve the communities there with Red Door Urban Missions. We are requesting $10,000 from the council, which we will use to be able to obtain adequate insurance and maintain that, as we have a new double Dutch team that was introduced to that district. We also will be using it to supply, we will also be using it to make sure that we have adequate planning and development and up-to-date data resources so that we can get the equipment necessary to keep up with the data that necessary. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. This is our first time presenting to the board, so I do want to make note of that as well. Since we have moved and relocated to the new district, we have actually doubled our numbers and participants. We serve daily around 52 children, but we have now, just alone in this quarter, reached about 400 kids. So we do want to continue those efforts as our community engagement program has kicked off. We have a new established program called the Upward and Onwards program, which Hillcrest High School has adopted, and we will initiate starting as of June 27th. We will continue our SEL training, which is also known as social emotional learning, at the Red Door Urban Missions there at New Horizon and Pepper Tree. Our ongoing efforts will continue as we serve those communities and like to expand. Our community engagement initiative is not just limited to those locations. We do pop-ups at different parks throughout the city. We've done this for the last 2 years, and they are effective as those numbers of people have increased. At those events, we do provide free food and information and resources to our participants.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for this organization? Seeing none, we want to thank you for your presentation this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And forgive my nervousness.
Oh, no problem at all. Colleagues, that wraps up those presenters. We're going to have a review. Yes, Councilwoman Johnson. Microphone, please.
David Porter Group, I've been trying to call him to see what happened, why he did not present, but I guess I'm curious who recommended David Porter, being that we had just heard a pretty extensive presentation from him.
I don't know. We can research that. What I was going to ask that we do, though, is have a review to make sure, and just go back and make sure that we didn't eliminate any that had a request greater than 30%. And what we'll do, we'll reschedule those for Monday. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, I picked them.
Oh, you picked them?
Yeah.
You weren't here?
Huh?
Were you here for the presentation?
I was here for the presentation, but what I was doing, I was picking those that hadn't made requests before us before.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, I didn't realize which ones I picked. But yeah, so like I said, we're going to have a review to make sure that we didn't skip over those.
Do you still need him to come back?
Well, no, because this is, although we make the individual selections, colleagues, I wouldn't be comfortable making a recommendation for anybody that all of you all didn't hear from as well. So I'm going to ask that he does come back. If not, I'm not going to make that grant request. Yes, ma'am. Microphone, please.
Another observation in regards to this 30%, because if you add some up, what they ask for is far more than 30% in a lot of these cases. So I don't know if they did not understand the process. And then the other question I would like to know is the documentation showing what they actually filed with the IRS needs to be looked at, because they're giving us budgets, but we are supposed to only grant it based on what they filed with the IRS, getting that 30%.
So if you reference your big sheets like this, it does contain that information. They've gone through and said for each one of them, I'll pick one here, one that has revenue listed on tax filing, just happens to be $1.8 million. So it is listed on here.
Okay,
So
that form.
So, yeah, it's listed on, so I would ask, as you're making your selections, refer to this. Maybe if we can have printed copies of this.
Can you print them larger?
Yes.
I just take more paper, but it can be done.
Right. Yeah. So this is what we're relying upon. We have all the information here. Instead of having, because yes. Because, in previous years, we'd have the 990s, we'd have all these stacks of paper. But in order to just make it a little bit more manageable, we've gone to this. And so some of it, what I would say, we could probably use some of these presentations to reconcile what they're saying in this, but I would rely upon this sort of to be our Bible or our gospel when we're talking about how much they've raised. But the staff, if you want to have, take a look at the detailed information yourself, that information would be available as opposed to having to print out all these 990s. Yes, ma'am. Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
If we need to extend that, we can, because the thing about it is that we can.
The funding has been approved, would be approved.
The funding would be approved, and then this is also, if you recall, Councilwoman Johnson has made a request for the extra $50,000 for each one of us. So I would say that because none of these organizations can be funded before July 1st, I think that, if it's the will of the body, we could push back that deadline for this, perhaps to the next meeting, to turn these things in. Yes, ma'am.
Also be mindful of the fact that when we talked about these funding for grants initially, we're asking that everybody spend at least 75%.
Yes, that part is still in place, yes.
Right, so
yes,
you can hold 25% back minimum, maximum, but at least try to release 75%.
Yes, that part still applies, and so I would have.
Does that make sense?
Out of the 250. Yep.
That gives the staff the time to get most of them out the
Right.
office and get finance, start working them rather than waiting till the last minute and then everybody's trying to get them worked.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Colleagues, is there any other business to come before the Budget Committee? Seeing none, I just want to thank the staff and thank you all for participating in all these hearings. Everybody have a good night. And we are meeting Monday, colleagues. Yes. We have just a few more. It won't go this long. Yeah. Yeah. In 800. Okay, great.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
do we have the updated list